A mythical figure in the world of crime, a mastermind who turned the Costa del Sol into his empire. This is the untold story of Mickey the Pimpernel Green. From daring heists to international drug cartels, Green eluded justice for decades, amassing a £70 million fortune. The life of Mickey the Pimpernel Green, a master criminal and one of the most elusive figures in modern organized crime, ended quietly this week at the age of 77 in his luxurious Spanish hideaway. For decades, Green managed to evade capture by law enforcement agencies across the globe while orchestrating an expansive drug smuggling network ominously nicknamed the Octopus due to its far-reaching and intricate operations. Green's criminal career spanned multiple eras and styles of crime, reflecting his ability to adapt to changing circumstances. From his early days as an armed robber, he transitioned into VAT fraud and later established himself as a formidable international narcotics trafficker. This progression not only expanded his influence but also allowed him to accumulate a staggering fortune, reportedly amounting to £75 million. His name became synonymous with the term Costa villain, representing the larger-than-life, flamboyant criminals who fled to Spain's Costa del Sol to escape the clutches of justice. He epitomized the image of a charming yet ruthless outlaw, often compared to characters from the silver screen. In fact, his lifestyle and demeanor bore a striking resemblance to the role portrayed by Ray Winstone in the cult crime film Sexy Beast. A close associate once called him the original gold medallion man, a description that perfectly captured his extravagant tastes, fondness for alcohol, and love of women. His audacious nature was evident in incidents such as the time the FBI arrested him while he relaxed by a pool in a Bel Air mansion rented under a false identity, one that belonged to none other than Rod Stewart. Despite his fugitive status, Green spent the last 2 decades living in relative comfort and visibility in a hillside villa near Estepona on Spain's picturesque Costa del Sol. Wanted by police forces in multiple countries, including France, Ireland, Holland, and Morocco, as well as by British authorities who relentlessly pursued him for years, Green seemed almost untouchable. His uncanny ability to evade capture became part of his legend, earning him both admiration and notoriety within criminal circles. Mickey the Pimpernel Green remained a shadowy and elusive figure in the criminal underworld, a name that carried an almost mythical status among those who operated within its depths. His identity and activities were known to very few, and his enigmatic reputation only grew as whispers of his exploits circulated. To many, Green was not just a criminal but a legend. Although Green had long retired from active criminal enterprises by the time of his death, the mystery surrounding him lingered. Friends insist he had amassed an incredible fortune during his career, with some even claiming that a portion of his wealth was hidden in the hills near his Spanish villa. His connections were vast and powerful, stretching from Colombian cocaine cartels to the Italian mafia and prominent crime families in the UK and Ireland. Yet despite such extensive associations, Green managed to evade capture for decades, a feat that has left many debating how he maintained his freedom. Those who knew him well argue that Green's survival hinged on his intelligence and resourcefulness. According to some, he had corrupt police officers in his pocket, using their help to stay one step ahead of law enforcement. Others, however, suspect a much darker explanation. There are persistent rumors that Green was a significant informant, sharing sensitive intelligence about his global criminal contacts with authorities in exchange for leniency. Such allegations have divided opinions, with some viewing him as a cunning strategist and others questioning his loyalty to the underworld. Fred Foreman, an ex-gangster now in his late 80s, shared a history with Green during the 1980s, when they were both on the run on Spain's Costa del Sol, a haven for fugitives so notorious it was dubbed the Costa del Crime. Foreman recalls Green as a man who thrived on indulgence. Mickey was a real operator with his fingers in all sorts of pies and a wallet to match. He loved the high life, always had money, always had women, and they were all top-notch. He was incredibly laid back, not heavy-handed or aggressive, but he wasn't someone you wanted in your crew. The question of whether Green was an informant has been a source of endless speculation. Foreman acknowledges the rumors but remains unconvinced. There were plenty of whispers about him being a grass, but I never saw or heard anything to back that up. He managed to stay on the run for an awfully long time, but that doesn't mean he was snitching. I never thought of him that way, and it's sad to hear he's gone. Mickey Green, a man whose life was as colorful and audacious as his criminal exploits, was born in 1942 in Harrow Weald, Middlesex, to parents of Irish descent, a fact that would prove crucial in shaping his future. From humble beginnings, Green quickly immersed himself in a life of crime, displaying a natural talent for orchestrating high-stakes operations. By the age of 19, he was married and working as a car dealer, but this was merely a front. Behind the scenes, Green was carving out a career as a professional criminal, and his reputation would soon precede him. Green's early exploits centered on leading a gang of armed robbers infamously known as the Wembley Mob. Over 4 years, this prolific crew managed to steal an equivalent of £20 million in today's money, becoming one of the most successful robbery outfits of their time. Their reign, however, came to an abrupt end when a member of the gang, Bertie Smalls, turned informant. Smalls became Britain's first supergrass, and his betrayal brought down the entire operation, naming Green as the mastermind behind their audacious crimes. When the police stormed Green's home in Edgware, North London, to arrest him, his anger was palpable. "Someone's lost their bottle," he snapped at the officers. His defiance did little to sway the courts, and in November 1970, Green was sentenced to 18 years in prison for orchestrating a record-breaking heist of a Security Express van outside a Barclays bank in Ilford. The robbery had netted £237,000, a staggering amount at the time, but much of the stolen money was never recovered, with authorities believing that Green had managed to keep control of the loot. Life behind bars did little to quell Green's rebellious spirit. In 1973, he divorced his wife Carol during a dramatic court appearance, where he was escorted in handcuffs from Parkhurst Prison to London's High Court. By the late 1970s, Green had served his time and was released, but he wasted no time returning to his criminal ways. He teamed up with Ronnie Dark, a former associate from his Wembley Mob days, to pull off one of the earliest and most lucrative VAT scams involving gold Krugerrands. The duo exploited a loophole by importing the VAT-exempt coins into the UK via private jet, melting them into ingots, and reselling them to bullion dealers while charging VAT. Their scheme generated an astonishing £5.5 million in just 6 months before customs officials caught wind of their operation. With the authorities closing in, Green fled to Spain, which at the time had no extradition treaty with the UK. On the Costa del Sol, or as it became known, the Costa del Crime, Green quickly established himself as a prominent figure among the British criminal elite. His flamboyant lifestyle, complete with a white Rolls-Royce and a seemingly endless string of escapades, solidified his reputation. His notoriety reached new heights in the early 1980s when he was accused of kidnapping a wealthy businessman. Although the charges didn't stick, Green's name remained synonymous with audacity and excess. Shifting his focus to the drug trade, Green began using Spain as a hub for smuggling narcotics into Europe from North Africa. His operations expanded rapidly, but in 1987, Spanish authorities arrested him following the seizure of 2 tons of hashish. Undeterred, Green secured bail and escaped to Morocco, leaving behind a fleet of 11 powerboats used in his smuggling operations. Relocating to France, Green's luck briefly ran out when police raided his Paris apartment, seizing gold bullion and cocaine. However, true to his nickname, the Pimpernel, Green once again slipped through their fingers, eluding capture. In his absence, a French court sentenced him to 17 years in prison, while Dutch authorities handed him a 20-year sentence in 1993 for his involvement in large-scale hashish smuggling. By the mid-1990s, Mickey Green had established a base in California, where he was frequently spotted associating with high-ranking members of Colombian cocaine cartels and the American Mafia. During this period, he was implicated in a massive drug smuggling operation involving a 1-ton shipment of cocaine, valued at an astonishing £200 million. This illicit cargo was intercepted by customs officials in 1994 at Birkenhead, Merseyside, after being shipped from South America via Poland. Green's connection to this case attracted the attention of U.S. authorities, leading to his dramatic arrest by the FBI. Found lounging by the pool in nothing but swimming trunks, Green was apprehended at a Bel Air mansion he had rented from rock legend Rod Stewart. Following his capture, he spent 10 months in a San Francisco jail, during which the U.S. government seized £1 million of his assets. However, displaying his characteristic cunning, Green later managed to recover half of this sum by filing a lawsuit against the investment firm that had handed over the funds to authorities. Eventually, Green was deported to France, but his journey took an unexpected turn. While the plane made a routine fuel stop at Shannon Airport in Ireland, Green exploited his dual British and Irish citizenship to walk off the flight using an Irish passport. He soon set up a new life in Ireland, residing in a large house in County Meath and maintaining a luxurious waterside penthouse in Dublin. His Irish connections allowed him to host friends and family from the UK, but this chapter of his life took a dark turn in 1995. While driving his Bentley under the influence of alcohol, Green ran a red light, causing a fatal accident that claimed the life of Joe White, a taxi driver and father of 9. In a shocking outcome, Green escaped with a mere £950 fine for dangerous driving and causing White's death. Allegations soon surfaced that Green had bribed 2 witnesses to secure such a lenient sentence, further tarnishing his reputation. The incident brought unwanted scrutiny to Green's criminal dealings, prompting him to leave Ireland hurriedly after receiving intelligence that Republican terrorists were plotting to kidnap him. He returned to Spain, accompanied by his 21-year-old Irish girlfriend, Anita, having been assured that earlier legal troubles over a cannabis seizure were no longer an issue. While in Ireland, Green had begun laundering money through Michael, a corrupt London-based accountant who, unbeknownst to Green, was also a police informant. When Michael became a supergrass in 1998, Green's operations were among the first he exposed. Michael provided authorities with extensive details about Green's financial dealings, including numerous accounts linked to his criminal activities. The informant further alleged that Green and he had bribed a Scotland Yard detective, who supplied them with confidential police intelligence about ongoing investigations and their associates in the criminal underworld. This insider information allowed Green to stay ahead of law enforcement and continue his operations undetected for years. Michael's testimony also implicated Green in the murders of 2 prominent figures in the Adams crime family. The hitman Gilbert Winter vanished without a trace in 1998, while Solly Nahom, a Hatton Garden jeweler and money launderer, was gunned down outside his gated home in Southgate, North London, later that year. Both men had allegedly crossed Green by supplying him with wood instead of cannabis in a deal worth less than £100,000, a sum trivial by Green's standards. Despite this, some sources claim the murders were orchestrated as a matter of principle, though others doubted Green had the muscle to carry out such high-profile killings at the time. Mickey Green's reputation as a near-mythical figure in the criminal underworld only grew over the years, fueled by his ability to evade justice with an uncanny combination of sharp legal defense, strategic bribery, and possibly the protection of corrupt officials. His name was often shrouded in rumors and speculation. Some admired his cleverness, while others accused him of being a police informant, a claim that cast doubt on his loyalty to the criminal fraternity. Despite being implicated in serious crimes through the testimony of Michael, a former associate turned supergrass, the authorities struggled to bring Green to justice. Michael's revelations led to the convictions of around 40 minor players, but when it came to bigger fish, including Green, the evidence fell short of securing convictions. Even as the shadow of suspicion hung over him, Green remained a free man, navigating the criminal world with apparent ease. In February 2000, Green's luck seemed to run out when he was arrested at the luxurious Ritz-Carlton Hotel in Barcelona. Based on Michael's testimony, investigators hoped this would finally be the breakthrough needed to bring the elusive crime boss to trial. However, their hopes were dashed. By June 2001, the case against Green was dropped due to insufficient evidence, forcing authorities to release him from the Madrid jail where he had been held during extradition proceedings. Once again, Green had managed to slip through the cracks of the legal system. After his release, Green returned to the Costa del Sol, the infamous haven for British criminals dubbed the Costa del Crime. Here, he resumed his criminal activities, building upon his already vast fortune while seemingly thumbing his nose at law enforcement. Meanwhile, a staggering 15 outstanding arrest warrants remained active against him, but they were effectively rendered meaningless as no action was taken to enforce them. Mickey Green, known as the Pimpernel for his uncanny ability to evade capture, took many of his secrets to the grave after his funeral near Marbella on Friday. Despite decades spent outmaneuvering law enforcement agencies across the globe, the precise methods he used to stay one step ahead of justice remain a mystery. However, hints from those who investigated and knew him paint a picture of a man who skillfully exploited the vulnerabilities of the systems meant to bring him down. Chief Superintendent Felix McKenna of Ireland's Criminal Assets Bureau, which seized properties worth £600,000 from Green after his abrupt departure from the country, suggested that Green's success in avoiding justice was at least partially due to his willingness to corrupt officials. McKenna remarked, "He was deeply involved in corrupting officialdom. That was a significant part of his expertise over the years, as evidenced by various police investigations into his activities." Green's ability to influence and manipulate those in power became a hallmark of his criminal career. A former associate of Green shed further light on his methods, explaining that Green benefited from more than just bribes. He had help from bent coppers, the associate revealed. But beyond that, he was a very clever operator. His shrewdness, coupled with the money to hire the best lawyers, made him an incredibly difficult target for law enforcement. The associate also highlighted the complexities of Green's legal battles, particularly in Spain, where Green had made his base of operations in his later years. It wouldn't have been too hard for the Spanish authorities to arrest him if they had truly wanted to, the associate noted. However, many believe that the charges against Green in other countries, particularly those related to drug trafficking, might not have held up under Spanish law, which is often viewed as relatively lenient on drug-related offenses. For years, rumors swirled around Green, with some cynics suggesting that his freedom was the result of being an informant, a grass. Yet, those who knew him are quick to dismiss such claims. "The idea that he got away with it by snitching doesn't really add up," said the associate. "It's far more likely that the allegations against him in other jurisdictions lack the kind of concrete evidence that would convince a Spanish court." Green's ability to exploit legal systems, manipulate officials, and strategically navigate the intricacies of international law enforcement earned him a reputation as one of the most elusive criminals of his time. His legacy remains a blend of myth, mystery, and undeniable skill, with his story continuing to fuel speculation about how a man so deeply entrenched in the underworld managed to evade capture for so long.